biggest lesson I learned was don't spend the money that you haven't got. Bought my first flat when I was 18. Then I bought a 2-bedroom flat in Battersea. Then I bought another 1-bed in Savannah Court in Watford. At the time when I got repossessed, I had 2 flats and they repossessed both of them.
How much money were you spending?
350 grand.
What were some of like the best business practices you learned from these different companies?
Being a good person in business will go a long, long way. Then it's about how hard you're going to work, how well you're going to communicate with people, keeping people up to date all the time. If I could give my younger self some advice, would be to...
If you like property, if you like wealth creation, if you like anything to do with business, then this is the podcast for you. Welcome back to another episode of the PBK podcast. Today, I have Nathan Khider. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Correct, yeah, spot on.
See, look, I didn't ask before the episode, I promise. So look, every week we get a special guest to talk all things property, business, mistakes you've made, things that have gone well. But for those that are not as familiar with you, just let the people know who you are and what you do.
So, I'm Nathan, in property. People might know me from The Traitors, Series 3. Been in property ever since I left school when I was 17. Married, live in Islington. But yes, a property guy, through and through.
Property guy. Well, we're going to touch on The Traitor, definitely, because it's a show that I like because I feel like... Did you ever play the game Mafia?
No.
So Mafia, like, have you heard of it? Or is it?
No.
So no one's ever spoken to you about this?
No.
So like Mafia is like the in-person, like kind of card game version of The Traitor. And it's like effectively, say there's like 8 of you in a room. Like everybody will be dealt cards, but 2 of them, for example, will be kings.
Okay.
And the kings are the mafia. And it's their job to vote out the civilians. So obviously, like, we go around and we say, like, what card have you got? I've got 7 of that. Like, what card? And then based off people's reactions and stuff.
It's a game of blagging and deceit.
And then you can kind of mix it up by, you can either vote kind of heads down where nobody knows who's voted for who, or you can vote heads up where you can see, and you kind of have to gauge that, oh, if there's too much heat on my partner, maybe I've got to vote them out. So I can be like, no, I've got one of the mafias. But it's similar sort of feel.
Sounds good.
We'll get on to your experience in the Traitor. But for those that don't know, obviously, you've gone effectively from being homeless, living in your car, to now being like a top-ranked property consultant. Like, just tell me a little bit about that journey, because I feel like people hear that, but don't really understand where it went or what happened.
So let's take it back to school.
Yeah.
Not very academic, not very bright. Teachers always said, needs to apply yourself more, but all I loved was football and sports.
Okay.
Amazing at sports, amazing at football. Always wanted to be a footballer. Got into Luton Town, had a year there. They then said, you're not good enough to play for Luton Town. Basically went back home, said to my dad, just been released from Luton, what do I do? He said, go get a job. Got offered a job in estate agents, Foxtons, and the rest is history. Did really well for a few years, worked really hard, made some money, became a property search consultant. So I was acting on behalf of clients, set up my own little business, made plenty of cash for the age that I was, then started spending it before the exchanges were coming through. So anyone that doesn't know, you've got exchange and completion. I was spending my money before we'd even exchanged.
Yeah.
And you know, when you've exchanged, you're gonna get paid. But I was spending all of my money before exchange. All of a sudden, deals didn't exchange.
Yeah.
Banks come calling. I had 2 mortgages, 3 cars. Everything got repossessed apart from 1 car, which was what I was in when they repossessed me. So I got home one day, lock's been changed, everything's gone. Sleeping in the car for about 2.5 weeks. Then, because you couldn't apply for the YMCA, which is basically a hostel, young man's hostel, I couldn't apply unless I was on job seekers allowance. So I had to apply for job seekers allowance, get my job seekers allowance reference number sent to a property which I didn't even live at, had to get a new bank account sent there. It was a nightmare. But moving into the YMCA was probably the best thing that I'd ever done, because it makes you humble, makes you realize that, you know, what's most important for you, like health, the good people around you. Anyway, got out of the YMCA within 6 months, and then just started slowly. And then the biggest lesson I learned was don't spend the money that you haven't got. If you don't have it, don't spend it.
I mean, it's a harsh way to learn the lesson. I think just to kind of take it back to, because there's a lot to unpack from that. When you said like you didn't feel like you were that academic, what did that look like to you? Because I feel like we're all intelligent in our own right. Did you feel the school system failed you to a degree, or do you feel you were failing within the system?
I don't know if it failed me or not. I just think, maybe my dyslexia or ADHD wasn't maybe as recognized back then as it is now. Like you'd go around school and you'd have mates, you'd be like, that guy's a little bit off key, like something's not right with him, but we didn't understand what it was. So I assumed that I had behavioural issues. Obviously, my mum passed away when I was a kid, so I had, definitely some traumas and some problems as a child.
Sure.
And listening to authority wasn't for me. Listening to teachers, I hate people telling me what to do. So I was just not naughty, but just a problem child. Just like.
And I think if you're not the easiest to deal with, and there's 30 kids in the class, do we spend all the time kind of with you or do? But I think the important part is like you said, like now I think there's a lot more of a culture of recognizing a problem doesn't just mean like give up. It means like, okay, how can we help this individual? What's sort of their learning profile now?
I think I would definitely been in a special needs school. Genuinely, yeah. Like if you look back at it now and you reassess me, I would have been in a special needs school. I remember doing, at the time, really embarrassing lessons with the teacher. So, all the pupils face the teacher, say during reception time or like just after break. You go into class, all the pupils were there, all your classmates are there, and the teacher's at the front. I would have to sit at the front with the teacher.
Yeah,
when I was 12, facing the group, and I'd have to be going through this book with her of like Abba, Sirta, Effa, literally learning the alphabet as if I was a 3-year-old, and I was 12 years of age. Yeah, really embarrassing back then.
Yeah, and I think that's the importance of good teachers, because I remember like again being sort of dyslexic, probably somewhere on different spectrums at different points, but like I remember like I was the only one in my class that had a daydreaming chart on the wall, because like I would just lose focus and just randomly they would just be like, I'd just be out the window like for like 10 minutes. And I had a chart, like if I did well when I didn't daydream for the day, I got like a well done. But I think that's the importance of like, shout out Miss Fletcher, she's ever watching this, but like a good teacher can be the difference between where your life takes you at different points in time.
Yeah, I get from my academically wise, in terms of like the teachers that taught me maths or whatever, I loved science, and my science teacher caught on to that. So I was always good at science, and also PE. Like my PE teacher, John Coleman, amazing. Like he honed in on that. They obviously said, look, Nathan's not very academic. He can't really write his name or read a book properly, but he can play sport. Yeah. So I was always, in the football team, in the rugby team, in the cricket, whatever team it was. And they really focused on that. So that was good teaching. Yeah. But looking back at it now, I'd definitely go into a special needs school because
just
I couldn't read or write.
Support. And I think that's one thing I think I was really like blessed that I probably had some really, really good teachers. And my mum, I think being in the education system really helped as well, that she fought to be like, no, like my son's not stupid. He's just dyslexic. He needs the extra time. And I think one thing about being recognized early on as being like diagnosed with, okay, you're dyslexic, so you need extra time. Maybe you need to type rather than write it handwritten, because my handwriting was illegible. Meant that at an early age, you learn that it's okay to ask for help. Yeah. And I think as men, that's something a lot of the time we don't realize maybe until we're in our 30s.
A lot of men don't help, don't ask for help. They, that's because that's just been programmed into them that men just get on with it and deal with it. And I think if men genuinely need to ask for help, they should, and they shouldn't be ashamed of it. You just get conditioned in different ways. Like people deal with stress better than others. Some people need to talk. Some people don't need to talk. Like I'm one of those guys that I just deal with it. Doesn't necessarily mean it's right. It just means that's the way that I cope with it. I just handle my issues. Some people should speak to somebody if they feel in a really bad place. They should be able to reach out to people. But going back to when I was younger, it was about surrounding yourself with the right people. So when I did become homeless, the people around me were the wrong people for me, because I had no one that I could speak to. So you should surround yourself with people that, if something went wrong or you felt down or upset or needed a hand with something, you should be able to have someone around you that you can trust. So most importantly, just surround yourself with really good people that want you to do well.
Yeah, I think that's a great takeaway there. So you've finished school.
Yep.
You've Like you said, always good at sports. Got for Luton Town.
Yep.
There for a year.
Yep.
In terms of, I guess, maybe downside, like, did it feel worse not maybe doing well in school, or worse when you got let go from Luton Town?
Letting go from football, because that's the thing that you love. That's the thing that you think you're really good at.
Yeah.
That's the thing that you're confident at. All of a sudden, for the youth chairman to say you're just not good enough, and at the time it was a second division team, and you're thinking, well, if I'm not good enough to play for Luton Town, I'm not good enough to play for a Premiership team or a first division team. But back then, we didn't have social media to record our videos. I didn't have an email or, an Instagram message. I could just message a youth director or a scout and say, come and watch me play football. There was none of that. You had to handwrite letters. Yeah. And I remember writing to like Liam Brady of Arsenal and all these people, and just my writing must have been so bad that they just thought, no, forget it. And we did get letters back saying we're not looking for players at the moment. But now you look back at access to be able to find where they train. I would just turn up and say, watch me play. But we just didn't have that access to information.
The question now, today's day and age, would you have made it?
Maybe, if I look back at it now, probably like a Division 1.
Yeah.
Or maybe a really bad Championship player. Would never have made it as a Premier League player.
But it is, like, a lot of the time it's attitude. Like, so, the players that I grew up with that I thought were absolutely out of this world, most of them stopped playing by the time they were adults, 18. The players that were, I'm like, it's all right, like, I don't think he's better than me, are the ones that ended up playing in the Championship and had like a good career.
Yeah. It's I think if you want to become a professional footballer, you need to have that dedication.
For sure.
And you have to have the right mindset. That how can I explain it? It's like you have to believe it and want it so much, and there are sacrifices you have to make that other kids wouldn't make. Going out, not drinking, speaking to girls, coming in early, going to training every day, not being late. There are so many things that coaches look at, and it's their mental attitude and the way that they approach life. They go, yeah, we'll give this guy a chance. But I think your attitude is one and your ability comes second. I think you can coach kids. Like, if someone's a really good footballer, a good baller, they're good at football. Like, they're great at football, but there's something wrong with their attitude.
Yeah, and it's like in business, kind of like, for me, look, I think one of the hardest things, for me, the hardest thing in business is personnel. Like, getting the right people that have the right culture of the business. So I think, look, for a lot of things, I hire for attitude over ability a lot of the time. Like, if we've got two base level people, one's a little bit better but not sure about the attitude, and one, I think they've got everything in terms of attitude in place, I'll go for them, because I think we can curate the person we need and help to cultivate that person to be an amazing member of staff.
If somebody's got the ability and the want and desire to learn, if they've got that right attitude, they can learn anything. If I've managed to learn my craft and my business from a young age, then if I can do it, trust me, anyone can do it. But it is all about having the right attitude and the want to learn, want to listen to people, and just look. I think it's about applying yourself. If you want to graft, you get into the office early. You're the first one to arrive. You're the last one to leave, and that's always the principles that I had since I was about early 20s. Whenever I had a job, I'd get in first, I'd leave last. And you just listen to everyone around you, listening to people. It's one thing I can't stand about people working from home these days, is that you need to be surrounded by people to hear those conversations. Those people that have been doing it for 20 years, maybe you're an intern or you've just started the business and you want to work from home. How are you going to hear those conversations that they have with the clients when they're closing deals, overcoming issues and obstacles, if you're not in the office environment?
Interesting. Because I remember speaking to some of my younger cousins who just graduated, and their whole thing was, if I can't work from home, I'm not taking the job.
Big mistake. Go work in an office. Go do a couple of years in an office. Learn from people around you. You're going to learn so much more, and you'll go past that ladder. But it just seems like people just don't want to work. Like, why would you want to work from your bedroom or from your living room?
I think, look, and I think, to play devil's advocate, I do think like Gen Zs get really bashed on. They don't want to work hard. Like, if you listen to like your LBCs, like, because of their target audience, they're constantly like, I can't believe they don't want to work. I don't want to do X, Y, and Z. But at the same time, when I've got like friends' kids that are doing 5K a month on TikTok, doing something they love, and they're not like, they're working hard. It's just a different type of work, or they're streaming themselves playing, Call of Duty on Twitch and they're doing decent numbers. It's
I get that, but
yeah.
how long does that last? And how many kids are doing it? And how feasible is that for the future? So yeah, fine. You know, you can earn a few quid being a social media, you know, doing social media or being an influencer or doing TikToks. At some point, that's going to change. And then what have you got?
Do you not feel like, though, without saying that, do you not feel like you sound like people in your parents' generation when you wanted to play football?
Yeah, but always listen to your parents. They've been there and done it.
Yeah.
They've got that experience. How many times have you been to your parents and go, let me get your advice? Now, if you go to your parents, you probably wouldn't ask them advice on what you're doing as a living because you've already got one or you've already got a career, but you might ask them life experience advice. You might ask them, you know, how would you maybe bring up your kids these days? Or, you know, what would you do differently? And they're the sort of life experiences that they've got that we don't. I'd always listen to my dad, not when it comes to property, but I'd always listen to my dad when it comes to maybe
life.
Yeah. So we might be looking at these younger kids or these Gen Zs and we're thinking, no, you need to go to work. You need to go learn. That's what they need to do. You can do TikTok and Snappy Chat or whatever, anywhere you want. But go.
He's really shared. He's a millennial, isn't he?
Look, I've got a Gen Z PA, right? Yeah. That's the thing that we started last year about having a Gen Z PA. And both of them are absolute grafters. Get into the office early. They leave early, but the work is done.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think it doesn't matter what age group you are, go to work. Get into the habit of going to work, doing your work, coming home. Like, have that work-life balance, because otherwise it's just going to be constantly work. You'll never escape from it. And when you've been doing it for 20 years, you need to find something to escape to. Can't just be working from home all the time. And I don't know. I can't get my head around it. It's like,
I'm trying to do you know what it is? So but I think it's for something like it's a random reason. I never liked working in an office. But it didn't have anything to do with the office. I really hated getting on the train.
Well, the drive.
But it was like central London. Like, so I was working in like Chancery Lane. Like, there's nowhere to park. There's no way to get in there. It could end up to anywhere from 40 minutes to 2 hours on a bad day.
I'd say just suck it up.
Yeah. No, that's not a good. I'm not giving. By the way, don't take that as good advice from me. I was just recanting on personal stories. But it's really interesting. I think that's a really interesting viewpoint, and that probably for a lot of people, maybe will ring quite true in terms of maybe I don't want to necessarily leave my bed. However, what is the trade-off? What am I going to get? Like being able to maybe have a chat with the CEO who bootstrapped this business from the ground up for half an hour just because you bump into each other in the kitchen. You
don't know who you're going to meet during the course of a day. You know, you could go and get a coffee and just start chatting to somebody and you realize that another door has opened for you. You just don't know. I think being out there and being with people and networking and communicating. One of my business partners, Gideon, he's relentless at networking. We had a massive event on Thursday and Friday called the PBK, Property Pro Kart Challenge.
Ooh,
and I was
right that.
Yeah, PBK, I suppose. But and I have to say, like, I was managing leading the team for us to win, because that's what I'm about, sportsmanship and like making sure we have a decent team and finish well. His job was literally just networking with so many people. He's so good. He knows everyone, that guy. I hate it, but it has to be done.
Yeah, no, definitely. We've all got to get better at it. Like I've said, I've made a conscious decision that next time I go to a networking event, I am not just going to speak to the people that want to speak to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out there and actively speak to people that I want to speak to and follow up.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty good with now, like being like, oh, having a nice kind of friendly chat. You take my number, I'll take yours. I'm just collecting. It's like I'm playing Pokemon. I'm just collecting phone numbers.
Yeah, I think you need to be careful when you're doing that, because you could collect just so many. And then all of a sudden, then you've got to arrange a time to meet. Then you've got to go for a coffee. And then you realise after that coffee, what a waste of time. I could have been doing something more productive.
For sure.
I think you've got to be, for me, I'd have to be selective about who I speak to. And I'd rather not. I would rather people approach me. And the reason why is I'd rather them speak first. So then I know if I'm going to waste my time or not. The problem is if you go around speaking to 100 different people, you haven't really heard what they've said. You've just gone, hi, I'm such and such and such and such. And then all of a sudden it's like, then you go to meet them and listen to what they've got to say, and then you realise you've wasted your time. I always go to people, what's your situation? What'd you do? Allow them to speak. And I think, no, I don't need to speak to you. You're not. It's not gonna be any benefit to me.
I just end up just like,
harsh.
I'm just a chat. That's a bit mean, isn't it?
It is a bit mean. It is a bit mean, but time is
That's
so
efficient
precious.
networking.
Right, time is so
You're
precious.
speed dating networking.
Pretty much. The one,
You like
It is.
how I reckon you should network. Sit down, red buzzer in the middle. Second they say next.
There's look, it's
We
the
could
same.
try that. That could be a good networking day, you know. You do networking like speed dating. Think it's a bit harsh.
People don't like rejection. People hate rejection.
You gotta learn.
They do have to learn. Yeah, suck it again. Just suck it up.
Yeah.
Deal with it. Like
In the
life
property
is about
game, we have to learn rejection.
any game, actors, whatever it might be. You know, you go to interviews. You know, you are going to get knockbacks. But so what? Who cares? Like that's life. You are going to get knockbacks through life. So the quicker you deal with that, the better. But it is pretty harsh to be like, buzz out.
Yeah, now I'm thinking like, I'm not gonna do it because there's a lot going on. But if somebody wants to do that, the networking day rest, kind of like the dating setup where look, red buzzer in the middle, sit down, buzz to change next person. I'm more than happy to attend. Just don't buzz me.
What'd you do? Estate agent. Bzz, out you go. See ya.
You got deals? Yeah. Deals? Good ones?
You got deals? Like, fine, you can stay. Let's have a chat.
Let's have a chat. Exactly.
So it's I think it's important not to waste your time because as you get older, time is probably it's the only thing that you don't get back.
Yeah.
When you're younger, you waste so much of it. And as you get older, you think, no, do you know what? I'm not wasting 5 minutes of my time with this person.
It's a really inverse relationship. When you're young, you have so much time and generally little money.
Yeah.
When you're older, you have all the money and no time. And you're trying to buy your time back.
Yeah, innit?
So again, in terms of life advice, if you're young, enjoy your time because
100%.
actually you've got the most valuable commodity at the moment. You just don't realize it yet.
When you're young, now's the time to network, learn a graft, enjoy what you do. Just, even if you don't enjoy what we do, just learn something, and just keep going. And do you know what? Another thing for me is wasting your time going out. Like, I think it's great to have a social life, but my social life now is better. And I'm having more fun now than I did when I was a kid. So if I could give my younger self some advice, would be...
Let me pause the video for a quick word from our sponsors. Now, let me put you onto something that could seriously level up your property game. When I started investing, I didn't fully grasp the benefits of using a limited company structure. But here's the deal. Over 75% of new UK investment properties are now purchased through limited companies. Now, why? Because it's a more tax efficient way of purchasing. You can claim your mortgage interest reliefs, benefits from lower corporation tax rates, plus it sets you up nicely for scaling your property portfolio and passing on wealth to the next generation. Simply put, it can help you increase your margin. Now, setting up and managing a limited company might sound daunting, but that's where GetGround come in. They handle the entire process for you, from setting up your company in days to managing your accounts and tax returns and ensuring compliance all under one roof. They even help you find financing to help you fund your investments, your own dedicated consultant, and a completely digital dashboard to track and manage the performance of your investments. But because I'm serious about giving back, I've got a great offer for you. GetGround is offering a free investment consultation plus 3 months of free accounting and tax services when you sign up through my link. Now, this is a huge opportunity to get started on the right foot. So if you're serious about building or optimizing your portfolio, then check out the link in the description. Fill out the form for a free consultation and claim your 3 months of free services. Don't miss out on this. You can even transfer existing buy-to-let companies over to GetGround and still take advantage of the amazing offer. Now back to the video.
To do more networking back then, work harder back then, and have more fun now. Because it's no fun getting to maybe you're networking now and you're trying to build a career when you're 40, and by the time you're 60, you're not gonna enjoy everything as much as you would. Like now is
the midlife crisis. Get the drop top Ferrari in the 60s.
I think is it? No, I don't know. I think for me, like my best years have been my 30s and 40s. Like, if I look back at my 20s, it was chaos. Some of the stuff I got up to, I look back at it and think, oh my God. I mean, great experiences, don't get me wrong, but I wish I could go back, turn the clock and just not waste my time doing so much of the shit that I did.
I think it is though. It's like that argument of hindsight. Everybody, like in hindsight, there's loads of things coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
But the reality is a lot of even the crazy shapes who you are now.
Yeah.
So let's kind of get back into property. So obviously left Luton Town.
Yeah.
Dad said get a job. First question to you is why property with all of the things you could have gone into?
Don't know. It was well, the long story is my dad used to have a car garage back in the day. He was a general manager for SMC, and he employed a gentleman called Derek Bell, and Derek Bell was his like apprentice, and my dad gave him his first opportunity in business. And my dad said, listen, go speak to Derek. I gave him his first job. He'll give you your first job. So I went down and met Derek, turned up, all cocky, like, I've been a footballer and I'm this and I'm that. And he didn't give me the job. He said, as much as I love your dad, and I'm not going to help you out. Like, life's about lessons. You're not right for me or my business. And I thought, excuse my language, what a dick.
Yeah.
Like, who are you to tell me no?
Yeah,
my dad gave you an opportunity. Anyway, went back home, said to my dad, look, he's not going to give me the job. So at the time, I'm sure I Googled or looked up best estate agents in London. At the time, it was Foxtons. Applied for Foxtons, got in, got my job there. And I learned something really quickly. I learned something that back in the day as an estate agent, the estate agents in the office would only take serious inquiries if they came into the office. When we got a right move, or I think it was find a property back in the day, an inquiry, we wouldn't take it seriously at all. Or we'd only take the inquiries that people came into the office. Yeah. So buyers were almost wasting their time going around estate agents. So I remember speaking to somebody and saying, listen, don't go into all the estate agents. I'll do it for you. I'll find the property that you're looking for. Don't worry. And I remember the first deal that I did was in Hampstead, and I found this guy a house. I didn't really know how to negotiate the deal, but I found it for him really quick.
For Foxtons though. This is
I was working in Foxtons, but I'd also set up my business. Because we're out and about all day. So why not go and look for properties for someone? Like, they're not going to know. So I used to book out fake appointments. I'm going to view this property, and I was actually going to view other stock. Did my first deal and earned like 10 grand. I was like, wow, it's not even my stock. I didn't have a product to sell. All I did was save someone time. And from there, that's when Click Investment started. And it just grew and grew and grew. And all I started doing was finding properties for clients. Worked for other big estate agents as well in the time. Learned a lot from big agents. Used to go in there for like 2 to 6 months. Learn a lot from people and leave. Go into another agency. Learn a lot. Leave. And then you get to a stage where people just keep going back to you and you keep getting referred.
So, question for you. What were some of like the best business practices you learned, or things you learned from these different companies you worked at?
Really good communication. I think communication is key. Being a good person, having some integrity, being honest. I think being in property, you just have to have really clear communication, being honest with clients, try and be a straight shooter, but also maybe trying to find those opportunities. You've got to go above and beyond. You've got to identify things that maybe people can't find. But I think just being a really good person. I think being a good person in business will go a long, long way. Then it's about how hard you're going to work, how well you're going to communicate with people, keeping people up to date all the time. There's so many things that you need to do well in property to make money. You can't just be good at one thing. You have to also be good at lots of others. It's quite a complex business.
Yeah. I think all businesses, there's so many different moving parts.
Yeah.
And I was speaking about this recently, and I said, like, if you think you can just hire great people and then all of a sudden you don't have to do any of their job. Like, the reality is in business, a lot of it is understanding that you're going to do anywhere from 10 to 30% of everybody else's job just because your priorities are going to be different to theirs. Theirs might be getting home earlier, whereas, the solicitor that you've hired, actually, they've got 50 other cases. They're currently dealing with. And if you want yours to be at a priority, you might have to chase it and do some of their work, unfortunately.
Or pay them more money or pay a decent lawyer.
Yeah.
So,
but even like, the thing is, I pay great lawyers, great architects, great structural engineers. But again, like, if you just think just paying money is going to get everything done, I think you're going to have a rude awakening throughout the time.
Yeah, I think, but you have to build those relationships, right? So the lawyers that I use, I've known them for 15, 20 years. So I have a great relationship with them. And it's all about having that understanding. So we pay them fairly. So for instance, if I say, look, we need to do an attended exchange, or we need to exchange within 2 weeks, I'm going to have to pay him more because he's going to have to drop some files. So I get that. So when I talk about paying more money, it depends on the transaction that you're doing. If it's something where it's a slow burner, you just pay him your standard fee. He keeps you up to date. You know the file was going to happen. But if it's something, no, I need all of your attention on this, he's going to have to drop files. So you are going to have to pay him fairly.
But that's like, even part of that, even the fact that you've had to, because you know him for 15 years, if you just said, I've got another one for you, and you just expect that, well, the client's going to tell them that we've got to exchange in 2 weeks, you've still got to do that extra step of being like, right, this is what we actually need on this, rather than just the expectation. If somebody else mentions it, they'll just get the job done.
Yeah. For me, again, build good relationships with people, have good lawyers in places. Again, it's all about communication. I come back to communication all the time, just people keeping you up to date. There's nothing. Yeah. So from the estate agency side of things, you know, if a buyer says, oh, I'm going to use convey law, I'll tell the seller, like my client, this deal is not going to happen. This convey law, you can never pick up the phone and speak to them. You can never get an update from them. It's just a nightmare. And I think when you're buying and selling properties quite quickly in big transactions, you need clear communication. What's outstanding? What's left to do? What do you need me to do? What do you need from me? Just pick up the
where are the bottlenecks?
Pick up the phone and tell me what's needed to be done, and it will get done. So build good relationships with lawyers, brokers that you can actually just pick up the phone, pick up their mobile and go, what's outstanding? What needs to be done to get this deal over the line? So just build good relationships with people and pay them fairly. When you start underpaying them, they'll disappear.
I always tell people that. And I say, like, when people are particularly, like, when you've done all of the hard work to, like, say you're flipping properties, which is a lot of what I and, other people that watch you are doing. You've done all the hard work. You found the deal. You've analyzed the deal. You've managed your builders. You've created a great product. And then at the end, you want to fight the agent on a fee and, like, knock them down from 1.5 to, like,
1%.
1%. But I'm like, if they've got 30 other 2-beds on their books at 1.5%.
Yeah.
And those, maybe not even, you might have a great relationship with the owner of the agents, but the individual person working there that's getting paid 80% of their salary based on commission is going to look at it and be like, well, if I can earn 50% more from this one and the buyer says, which one shall I go with? I'm going to point them towards the one with the higher commission.
Yeah.
So I think you have to find that balance of making negotiations work for both sides.
Yeah. It has to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, be fair. Pay people what they're owed. I mean, if somebody says to me, oh, Nathan, what do you charge? I only charge 1.5%. I don't charge anything less. If someone came into the office not long ago and said, oh, do you charge 1%? No, get out. You're not the right client for me. And my fees have had to go up to 2% purely because I'd rather have less but provide a better quality of service than have loads of them all at 1%. Can't provide them with the service that they need. All for what? For what? A headache.
And this is the thing that, like, I find almost ironic with property as a whole. Although, like, you're talking about property from, like, the kind of the service side of it, but, like, for property as a developer, people get lost in, like, the idea of, it's so different from any other business. But exactly what you just spoke about in terms of, okay, realistically, you're better off having the right price point with less. It's the same thing when you're, trying to find your first deal.
Yeah.
One good deal is better than 5 really mediocre ones, because you can put your time and effort into something that actually can create and yield really good results.
Sure. So, but again, we're going back. So if you're starting out and you're looking for that amazing deal, it's not always going to happen. You are going to sometimes you have to make a little bit, fine. And then you learn mistakes. Like, sometimes you're going to lose. That's also normal. Like, deals, you lose money. We've bought things before and we've put them back into the auction. We've lost money, but that's normal. That's what happens. That's life. You can't win at everything. And if you're looking for that amazing deal for your first one all the time, it's very rare it comes up. You have to find those little ones first.
Yeah.
Ones where you make, your 5 or your 10%. I've got a builder who's been building for 45 years. And I used to go on the basis that I'd always want to make 30%. If I was in and out, I want to make 30%. He's like 10, 12, 13% I'm happy with, because it's continuous for him. Like, he's always got something going, as opposed to waiting a year and finding something. And you might make your 20, 30%, but I stop looking for all the amazing deals. If you think there's something in it, try it.
Yeah, I think I'd probably disagree with you that in this market.
Yeah.
Because if we look at what's happened over the last sort of 2 years, build costs have gone up considerably. Prices have kind of stagnated. They've stayed around, like, particularly in the London areas, which I'm going to talk about, have stayed around the same. Interest rates have gone up. There's a lot more competition. A lot of stock has come to market. A lot of stock that was supposed to be build to rent stock didn't end up working on exits as rentals have gone to the sales market.
Yeah.
And if you're working on, 10%, 10% margins, and your build costs go up by 10%,
so you're talking on a refurb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're just buying something just to flip, basically.
Yeah.
to sell. Like if you're working on sort of,
Well, if I bought something for 600 grand and I'm making 60K out of it within 6 months, you find me a job that's going to pay you 60 grand in 6 months.
Yeah, no, but the difference is that job that you get, you're getting your 60 grand. There's not like, okay, but what if, for example, like if you bought something for 600 grand, if you worked out on a basis that, okay, that 600 grand was on the basis of maybe it taking you 9 months.
Yeah.
But in terms of the what if factor, you're like, okay, I bought it on a bridge. What if, you know, if the agents, for example, whatever happens, that it falls out of bed last minute because the couple buying it were like deadline day and decided they got separated because one of them decided they don't want a cat. The other one does. Now all of a sudden you're back on the market, another month to find a buyer. 3 months before you know it, you spent an extra £10,000 on bridging fees. You know, X, Y, and Z's happened. Your bill cost you 10 grand more because your foundation ended up being a raw foundation rather than, you know, a standard, just, you know, do you know what I mean? So the what if, so I think for people starting out, I'm not saying try and find that unicorn deal where you make 6 figures every time you do it, but just make sure that you, I guess the best, make sure you stress test the deal enough to give you.
I think you do that anyway. I think, you know, you have to assess each deal as it is, right? There are some deals where you can get in and out really, really quickly. There's some deals that might be slightly complicated. I think the key thing is I think you have to understand the purpose of maybe where that person's journey is. You know, for me, I've been doing it for, 20 odd years. I'll take 10, 12% because I don't mind. And I also don't mind losing on some because that's the risk that I take. But you need to ask yourself, like, first of all, if somebody's saying, look, all I've got is 20 grand as capital, I probably wouldn't risk it all. I'd probably, I'd maybe try and buy something up north, or I'd try and buy something in Plymouth or wherever it might be where your risks are lower, but it gives you that learning opportunity where you lose less, you make less, but you learn the lessons. And that's more valuable than anything else. So, you know,
that's good advice as well in terms of the risk and reward ratio.
Yeah, I think you've got to, so you can't just blanket property and just go, oh yeah, just go buy something and get 30%. It doesn't always work like that because every person that's looking to start investing or flip properties all got different budgets, all live in different locations, all have different living arrangements. So I would say to somebody, look, just work out what you're prepared to lose always. What can you afford to lose? If this deal goes wrong, if you can lose this money, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Right? What's the worst that could happen from this deal? If it does, if you think it can provide you something, and if you think the worst could happen and you're going to be okay from it, why not? Why not? I love taking risks. The thing that just go for it.
I think that's where our disagreement comes from.
I love it. So when people say to me, I'm like, just do it. Do it. Like my 2 business partners were sending me text messages the weekend saying, should we offer this offer? Go. Just do it. Because you get to a certain stage in life where you can take those risks. But at the beginning, I get what you're saying about certain risks, but you also you've got to learn. So you can't be afraid to lose. You have to lose because that's where the best learning comes from. Me becoming homeless was the best lesson that I've learned. It's taught me now that I should take risks because what's the worst that could happen to me? I go back to the YMCA. So what? I'll go get a job. I know how to find properties. All the life lessons that I've learned, I know how to get out of that situation. So don't always stress about finding that amazing deal. It's going to pay me loads of money. If you're learning at the beginning, learn. Just learn. Make mistakes. Get it wrong. It doesn't matter. But learn. Because if you don't learn anything from it, if deals don't go wrong, trust me, at some point when you think that amazing deal is going to come in and you put in everything to it, you will lose everything.
Yeah, I think it's just interesting. I think what's really interesting is that's the important part is that everybody has a different risk appetite and you have to work out what works for you. Because naturally, I tell people all the time, like if I took all the risks that I could have taken, probably would have been flying if everything went to plan. But at the same time, because I'm naturally quite overly analytical, I'm just very much like, nah, I'm all right. I'm just gonna, I'm not doing that.
I'll leave this one.
Yeah, but it's what works for me because also at the same time as, like you say, what's the worst that could happen? I also know sometimes I can have quite like I guess you would call it maybe fragile, like like mental state. So like the idea of being on something where I'm finding it really risky, maybe that's going to ruin my year because the whole year I'm worrying about what's going to happen. So I think you really have to understand who you are as a person
100%.
and do that deep dive to be like, look, what am I like? Because advice that I have might be awful for you and advice that you have might be awful for me.
Yeah, but
and you've got to find who you are
and
then operate within those parameters to a degree.
I think that's probably the thing that you need to do first and foremost, right? Understand who you are and be comfortable in yourself. I think that's just a life lesson number one. Like, I don't know how you're going to start investing and cope with losing money and being under stress if you don't understand who you are when you look in the mirror. Be okay with that. I think you need to be okay with that first before you start, investing all your capital or your savings into something and then looking back at yourself in the mirror and having a really tough conversation with yourself and not liking yourself even more. So I think you need to understand who you are. I think people looking to get into property or to any business, just do some self-work. Like, can you look at yourself in the mirror? Be okay with who you are in your own skin. Be okay with being on your own. Like if you're at home alone, can you just switch off your phone and just do nothing? I would love it if someone could just test somebody, just watch somebody sitting in a room for half an hour with nothing around and see how they cope with it. People stress.
I'd be off the walls.
Right. So you've got to get really comfortable with being on your own first. That's because ultimately you are yourself. You are just you. So get really comfortable with being on your own, and then the rest will come.
Good advice. So let's go back to when you were working. Obviously, you're working for Foxtons, various other agents.
Yeah. And
let's talk about like. So obviously, you had, like you said, multiple cars. Multiple properties.
Bought my first flat when I was 18. One bedroom flat Rochester Drive in Watford, 44 Rochester Drive. That was my first flat. Then I bought a 2-bedroom flat in Battersea. Then I bought another 1-bed in Savannah Court in Watford. But at the time when I got repossessed, I had 2 flats, and they repossessed both of them. And
I'm just thinking about that.
20.
See, I had 2 flats, multiple cars.
Yeah.
But you stayed, while you were running your business, you stayed still working at various companies.
But also searching for clients.
Yeah, but doing, obviously, your business alongside.
People just kept recommending me by saying, like, Nathan can help you find something to buy.
This is my fee. I'll go and find you something.
Yeah, it was just always
convenience. It's like the modern day, I guess,
concierge property concierge.
Exactly that.
It really was.
How much money were you spending?
I probably spent 350 grand last year.
Yeah.
That's China Whites, nightclubs, restaurants, cars, taxis. There was a company, I can't remember if it was called Blue and Black Cabs. I used to get them everywhere. So we used to go out, spend 5-10 grand on a night out, between 5-10 of us. We'd invite loads of people that we don't even know. We'd get this cab and they'd come up with this tiny little motorbike. He'd put the motorbike in the boot and then drive you wherever he wanted to go. He'd put his chauffeur, and we just thought it was fun, but it was like 150 quid every time. And you're doing that 2-3 times a week, going out 6-7 nights. It becomes quite expensive.
I think you got to a point where obviously you're making the money, but you're spending the money.
I was spending
before it's been banked, basically.
Yeah, before exchanges. There was a deal I was about to earn about 150 grand on. And I'd spunked all that money before it came. I thought, this deal's going through. This deal's going through. It's going through. It's going to happen. It's going to exchange. It didn't exchange. And that money I'd spent. And then you're trying to claw it all back. And it's not that easy. Yeah. You start spending on credit cards. Oh, let me get a little loan out. Oh, let me just take some refinance on my flat. And all of a sudden, the banks come calling. And when you're highly leveraged and you've got no income, you're done. You're done.
Because it is I speak to some people, there's a lot of people that generally are in like the sales or commission-based industry where it's uncapped. You can earn as much, as hard as you work, as good as the deals you can find, you can earn ridiculous amounts of money. Do you think the spending element of it helped you actually be good at what you were doing though, because you had to earn the money?
Yeah, but some people learn by when they're spending, they're trying to make more money. I sort of learned a lesson there. Where if I was spending more, I was trying to make more, but there's a balance of spending the money that you've got, like as opposed to spending money on a credit card, where people think, oh, hold on, if I max out my credit card, it'll entice me to go and earn more money. That's a slippery slope, because if that money doesn't come in, you then owe the bank more, and with interest and everything else, it's not worth it. But yes, spending the money that's in my account, I still love doing that now. Like whatever I got, I spend. I don't keep anything. I spend it all. I buy whatever I want to buy. I spend it because I'm then motivated to go and make more money. But I only spend what I actually have. I don't have a credit card. I don't have loans. Mortgages are different. Bridge finance is different. Car finance, I get that. But I don't go out and wouldn't go and buy a watch or wouldn't go to a restaurant. I wouldn't go on holiday and put it on my credit card. Never. I've been there. I've done that. It doesn't work for me. Works for other people. Yeah. When you use your Amex points on whatever, I don't get it. I don't get all this Avios and Amex points. I had a credit card and there was once I got a notification on my Amex. It's this like silver charge card, basically. It's not even credit, it's a charge card. And it said you could spend 250 grand. I'm thinking, this is mad. It's not my money to spend. Yeah. Like, but someone would be so easy just to go, yeah, here we go. Here's an AP skeleton. I'll take that.
It's easy to get like sucked in, I guess, particularly if you like enjoy the purchases. When kind of things finally came crashing down, was there ever a point you thought like did you feel like you could get out of it? Did you have a plan, or did you just get to a point where you're like, I'm just here now?
At the beginning, no. At the beginning, when it first happened, I thought, what am I going to do? What am I going to? I couldn't tell anyone. At the beginning, I had no idea, and then something sort of inside me just said, go do what you enjoy, which is playing football. Go to the gym. So every day I'd go to the gym, and I started feeling better. I started looking well, feeling good. I was playing football as much as I possibly could. And you get into a better mental state within yourself and you start feeling comfortable. And I never felt comfortable on my own before that time. And living in your tiny little room in the YMCA, and you're surrounded by people at that time, which are drug addicts, they've huge mental issues, which you don't realize at the time. It's hard. So you sort of put yourself in solitary confinement in a way. And all you do is you're a bit of a loner. You're training, you're playing football with people that you don't really know. But I started feeling good. And I thought, I now need to set a time of when I want to get out of this place. I don't want to live here forever. So what do I need to do to get out of it? And every day I tried to take action on what I was going to do to get out of there. And within 6 months, I was out. I set myself a year.
What was the first thing you did? Like, because I feel like in that position, especially coming from high flying, spending tens of thousands of pounds in nightclubs, buying nice watches, going on nice holidays, to actually having to humble yourself and start again.
Oh, it was so embarrassing. Like it was probably the worst feeling that I'd felt about myself as a person. It's probably worse than getting released from Luton Town. It was a worse thing. Like pride. I didn't want people to see me. I didn't want people to know where I was. I got rid of my mobile phone. Like there was I didn't speak to family. I actually remember asking my family members for 300 quid and they said no. And after that, from that day, I've never asked anyone for anything. Not my friends, not my family. I've never asked anyone for a penny. And I thought, do you know what? I'll just do this on my own. And it was really, really tough. Like the food was terrible, but do you know what? I have to say, like if somebody is homeless or going down that route, there is help out there for you, but you have to go and find it. It's not going to come to you and say, oh yeah, you're homeless here, come and stay here. You do have to go out and do the work. Centrepoint is a really good one. They do some really good work for young people that are struggling on the brink of homelessness. I'm sure they're called Centrepoint.
Yeah, I think I've heard that name.
Really good. They do some good work.
So talk to me about business now, because obviously now, gone.
So probably in the last 10 years, I've had e-commerce businesses, gyms, coffee shops, pizza shops, dog groomers, stuff. I've got the estate agents. I invested in loads of different things just for fun. Like it was more of a passion projects. And why not? Someone says, oh, let's set up this bottle company. Okay, fine. Here's some money. Somebody says, oh, I want to open a coffee shop. Okay, here's a few quid. I've opened a few gyms. So I've done quite a lot in that sense. But for me, I just want to take it all back to property. I just stick to what I know. Stay in your lane. Just stick to what you know, as opposed to spreading yourself too thin. I had 3 coffee shops at one point, trying to run a property business as well. And I spend like 3 hours a day dropping like milk to one shop, bread to another. Oh, this manager's called me, Nathan, we haven't got any like croissants left. Oh my God. So what's the point? Like what is all for what at the end of the year? 12 grand, 15 grand, but you've got a bit of an ego and you want your coffee shops and you want people to get rid of them. Yeah. So got out of them, and all I stick to now is just property. So I've got my real estate business where it's sort of high-end estate agency or high street estate agency. And then the rest of the stuff we're just buying and selling.
Nice. And obviously with the high-end stuff, what's some of the most memorable properties that you've sold through your agency?
94, 95 Park Lane. That was back in the day. So that was what, I don't know, 20 years ago or so.
Oh, wow.
2 big buildings. That was good fun. But I don't know. I don't really look at properties anymore and think, oh, I'm going to earn a great fee from that. Or I enjoy every transaction. Like, I genuinely enjoy it. Like the high street stuff, like the typical sort of resi stuff that you sell to first time buyers, I still really enjoy, because that's what I know. That was my first ever job. So I still really enjoy that. The investment side of stuff I really enjoy as well. Like, I love finding a good deal. Of course I do. Like, I love finding those big deals, but they don't always come up and they're hard to find. And if you want to go out and find them, you've got to speak to agents all the time. You've got to be in their face all the time. You've got to be looking at auction sites. But again, the problem with auctions now, everyone's on them.
Yeah.
You know, all the first time buyers, these young buyers are all on auction sites. So you're not getting good deals. So you've got to go and find them. You've got to go look for empty properties, distressed stuff that maybe got a sitting tenant or whatever it might be. Anything that you think other people don't want, that's the property that you want to try and buy.
I think that's what, people come to me as like always their first place is, where do I find a good deal? And I was like, if there's such thing as a good deal shop, we would all be lined around the block.
Absolutely.
And then we would all argue with each other and offer more, and it's no longer a good deal.
Yeah.
Good deals come from seeing the opportunities that other people have missed effectively, or taking on problems other people are scared of or don't want. So you got the estate agents,
dog groomers.
Got
the dog groomers. I'm still shareholder of the gym. But my time is spent in property.
Nice.
Yeah.
And in terms of you, like, what's like a deal that you've done recently that you've enjoyed, something that you've bought, or like, for yourself?
We exchanged on 1,000 square foot, 2 to 3 bed, split level period conversion, share of freehold in Islington.
Nice.
Bought that for 670. We'll get out of it at 865. That buyer will then will refurbish it and then sell it for about 1.2. That's a really good deal. We could also the problem is if we exchange and complete, we've also then got the stamp and everything else and the refurb work. So we think, why not just sell the contract on to somebody that wants to do the refurb themselves?
And for someone that's maybe not as familiar with like assignable contracts, can you just speak on that and explain?
So you've exchanged with a seller and then you sell that contract on to somebody else. The only problem with that is that they can't get a residential mortgage to do it. They either have to get a bridge or they have to pay cash.
Yeah.
So you can't flip a contract to someone if they're just an end user.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have to be a cash purchaser or a bridger.
Nice. So what's next for you? Because obviously you've done so many things, from football to business to
just want to go on
holiday.
Groomer. I just want to go on holiday.
You like a holiday?
Next? Yeah. Twice a year. Yeah. Twice, 3 times a year. Just try and get away, switch off. I say switch off. My phone is constantly on, but it's time where I know that I've got a restaurant there with really good food. I've got a gym there on my doorstep. I've got a pool, some good weather. That for me, I get myself fit, I get myself healthy, I come back and then I smash it again. Where as opposed to most people get fit to go on holiday, then they binge and then they come back. No, I actually go on holiday, get really fit, get really healthy, come back I'm raring to go. Yeah, exactly. What's next? Look, I think for me, just keep buying and selling. That's all I want to do. Involved in a little build as well. We bought 5 garages converted into a house. Part of that, I'm an investor of another development where we bought the freehold, converted the top floor into 3 flats. They're being sold at the moment. So involved in loads of little deals. We'll just keep buying. If we buy, sometimes we retain it. If it's really cheap and the yields are good, we'll put it into our limited company. We'll keep it. No harm in that. I mean, everyone's put off by buy to lets, but if you buy, it's all about how well you buy.
Exactly.
Right? It's all about how well you buy. It's not where you buy, it's just how well you buy it. Forget about timing. It doesn't matter what the timing is. If you're buying really well, it doesn't matter. So for us, as long as we're buying well, we'll look at the deal. Do we want to keep it? Do we want to flip it? Do we want to refurbish it? Do we want to build it? There's so many different variables, but I think, again, it comes back to surrounding yourself with people. Have you got good builders? Have you got good lawyers? Have you got good business partners? Have you got good lenders, good brokers? There's so many things you need to get right to get these deals across the line.
No, for sure. Final question. Any more TV appearances on the horizon?
We were working on a TV show called Cash Rich Time Poor.
Okay.
Which is all about what we do on a daily basis. So actually exchanges filmed, actually seeing an exchange happen.
Yeah.
No one actually knows what an exchange looks like. You know, like a solicitor picking up the phone to another solicitor saying, yeah, I can give you a release.
Yeah.
You know, can you confirm that these are the dates that we're going to complete? Blah, 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 blah. I want that to be filmed. I want that to be aired. I want people to see how deals are sourced, how deals are found, how stressful it is, how hard it is to get these deals done. That's the sort of show that we're going to put together. But we have, I've got a clause in my contract with the traders saying I can't do anything until January.
Oh, really?
So nothing will happen until after January. But we're having a few conversations, but it's really hard to get a new show commissioned. It's really hard.
Yeah, we'll speak about it. It's a lot of work. But it's been amazing having you on. If
Thank you
people
very
want to connect with you, if they want to get in touch with you, how can they find you?
Instagram, WhatsApp, whatever. Instagram's probably the best.
Yeah, we're not just going to put your number out.
No, just get hold of me on Instagram. It's probably best.
As it is. Okay, well, we appreciate it. That has been another episode of the PBK podcast. If you have enjoyed it, please make sure you subscribe, like, follow, all that good stuff. We'll be back next week with another episode. Peace.